Hey George, how was your week?
My week's been pretty good, especially the game Blood Bowl, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Quick update to you guys. This is going to be the last choppy video you guys see. I am getting a new graphics card come Tuesday, so the next video will be a lot smoother. That being said, let's get to the week.
Yes, let's take a look. So right off the bat, we had your game, Squash Lizard versus Blitz Strider, ending in a 1-1. Tell me how that went.
I kind of disappointed myself. I lost two chances of actually winning that. Not to say that Robert is a bad player. He's actually a really good player. He was able to come in. I just got really lucky rolls throughout the whole thing. Neffel was definitely on my side on that one. That being said, real quick for you guys, if by chance you have a chance to do this touchdown and you decide to go for the blocking maneuvers, do that at your own risk. That's what's costing me the game. I could have won it
Absolutely.
with that.
That game could have been easily a 2-1 or a 2-0. You had an opportunity to score a touchdown that you didn't go for, and the opportunity to pick up the ball and stop him from scoring his touchdown that you also neglected.
Yeah, that
So,
and if everything would have gone as planned, it might have even gone as far as a 3-0. But good on Robert. He did really well, and we did an amazing game. I learned a lot from that game.
draw is better than a loss.
This is true.
Next up, we had the Jurassic Park Ruffians against the Wimshire Warthogs. Tough matchup for Gavin, like we predicted. It ended in a 2-1. Could have been a lot different. I believe Gavin accidentally skipped an entire turn at one point when he tried to select one of his characters that was on the corner of the screen. Not a whole lot of blood that match, but man, was it tough for the humans. Really fun game to watch, though. I got to kind of take a look in depth at the punching tactics of the Jurassic Park Ruffians.
That would have been an incredible game. I wish I would have been able to see it. It's a surprise that everything happened as the way it is. Just a 2-1. I am surprised he actually made that score, considering he was facing against Lizardmen. Good on him.
Gavin is a seasoned and very well disciplined player for sure.
I'm not looking forward to facing against him then.
He actually, and this is the funny part of this match, he earned more experience points than Matthew did, just from injuries, from throwing the ball. He actually earned 2 more experience points than Matthew did, and his team came out with absolutely no injuries.
Wow,
Matthew had a skink die. I'm recalling the game right now. His star skink died. One of his skinks revealed that he was in tune with the dark side of the Force, so we're going to have to look out for that. And he had several injuries. But Gavin, on the other hand, not a single scratch throughout the game, earned so much injury experience points, which is going to be necessary for his human team, and really kind of, even though he technically lost that game, I think he came out on top. Matthew, on the other hand, really tough loss with the skink, but it secured him. He is now in first place in the league with
That's
2
wonderful. It's a good thing. It's nice to see that he's able to take these humans somewhere and he's not falling behind. Not only that, but I'm starting to notice that the game isn't necessarily won by basically winning the game. It's won more along the lines of the experience points. So good on you, Gavin.
Yep. We had the Red Cross Disaster Relief versus the Empire Meth Rats. That was my game against Ryan. Ended 1-1. Oh, it was a grind, and it was very nearly a 1-0 in my favor, actually. I got very greedy towards the end of the game and passed the ball to someone I shouldn't have, ended up getting him tackled and a score on the very last turn. But it was a deadly match. 2 of my players died, George Encinosa and Matthew Underwood. 2 linemen died, and 1 of Ryan's players died, actually. 1 of his bestigors, I believe. So 3 deaths, ended in a 1-1 draw. That puts me and the Red Cross Disaster Relief both at 2 ties. We are both tied with 2 ties apiece. Crazy. Especially coming from Season 1 champion, 2 ties is not what he wanted to see at the beginning of the round robin.
No, he might have to give up that trophy of his.
And finally, last night, the Nocturnal Giant Slayers played against the Greenham Man Clan in the least bloody punch fest I've ever seen. Every turn had about 6 to 10 tackles. Players were going down left and right. Not a single injury. No injuries were made in that game. Just 2 tough teams headbutting each other into the ground. Eventually ended with the 0-1 to Jim and the Greenham Man Clan, but probably the least amount of experience points I've ever seen gained in a game. Each of them had an MVP, and Jim got a touchdown. So that's 8 experience points to Jim and 5 experience points to Lydia.
Oh, that's incredible.
So
We're going to have to see that in MVP a little later.
It was not the game that either of them needed. They both really need to farm experience points, especially being new punchy teams. Interesting to note, however, that Jim is the newest member to the Blood Bowl League, but so far he's up there with a win and a draw, which I think puts him in second place. And actually, let's go over to the leaderboard and check it out. So in first place, Jurassic Park Ruffians, like we said, that's Matthew's team with 2 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. Really great, so far flawless victory. That loss of that Star Skink might have an impact, however. Second place, like I predicted, we have the Greenham Man Clan, piloted by Jim with 1 win, 1 draw. Really incredible that he's able to take second place so early in the round robin, being the newest player, never having played before this league. It is just mind-blowing to me. In third place, we have the returning Gavin with the Wimshire Warthogs, going 1 win, 1 loss, which I think is great because I had a lot of trouble with the humans last season, but he's really farming the experience points, really showing that even though he was gone a season, he hasn't lost his touch with the strategies of the game.
And we also have to remember too that he's playing from Blood Bowl 1 to Blood Bowl 2. This is the first time we've actually played Blood Bowl 2, which is
Exactly.
slightly better from what I understand.
Oh yeah, and a different interface for sure. And in fourth place, we have a 3-way tie: Red Cross Disaster Relief, Empire Methrats, and Blitzstrider with 2 draws apiece. This is crazy. Red Cross Disaster Relief and Blitzstrider both being some of the huge punishing teams from last season, and coming into this round robin with 2 draws is an incredible blow to their team. I really hope that they can come back from this. I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's sort of starting them off with an uphill climb. Definitely going to see a more interesting top 4 this season than we did last season. There's going to be some competition for those top 4 spots.
This is interesting. I actually thought that you would see the top 3 teams being the returning teams simply because they would be more leveled and harder to kill or hurt. But it just seems like the advantage is more towards the newer teams because they're able to get that apothecary, they're able to get that reroll, and almost come out on not on top, but definitely give them a good run for their money.
Exactly, it's those inducement values playing into point here, and really showing that the game is very balanced. Even if your team has a higher team value, you get the opponent is getting more inducements, and inducements are powerful. Against my matchup against Ryan, I was able to hire a wizard, and the wizard can throw fireballs, he can throw lightning bolts at a moment's notice. Very powerful inducements indeed. Finally, in 7th place, we have your team, Squashed Lizard, with a draw. Congratulations on your first almost a win, and a
You know what?
loss.
I'll take it as it is. I was actually expecting to be tied into last place. I'm just glad not to be in last place. Sorry, Nocturnal Giant Slayers.
And Lydia, Nocturnal Giant Slayers with 2 losses. Hey, we have a lot of round robin matches to play this season. 7th place, 8th place, you're not going nowhere. You still have room to move up. I mean, look at the next 3 places above you. The difference between you and the next 3 places above you is 1 draw. If any of these 3 people lose their next match and you win your next match, you immediately jump above them because no matter how many draws you have, a win trumps it. So if the Red Cross Disaster Relief, Empire Methrats, Blitzstrider, if they lose or draw and you or Lydia win a match, you're bumped up 3 spaces on the ladder.
Well, good luck to Lydia. I really want to see her bumped up there in the ladder. Hopefully she's not playing against me because I want to move up in that ladder as well.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule again for day 3. Day 3, match 1, we have Gavin's Wimshire Warthogs versus your Squashed Lizards. How do you feel?
Wait, isn't this another return? No, this is not a returning
This
team.
is Gavin's human team.
So I don't feel too bad about this because finally I get a level playing field. The last 2 games I've had to face against the higher team, which was an advantage slightly because of the extra things. I'm gonna have to be very careful with this because it shows that Gavin knows a lot about this. This is the first time I face off against Gavin, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a really good match.
Let's see if his players have gained enough experience points, because like I said, that last round, they really farmed it. Let's see if he's got some abilities on those guys. Next match, my Empire Methrats versus Blitzstrider. Another tough match for me, another returning team right off the bat of the Red Cross Disaster Relief. And this is a more running team than Ryan's punchy team, so I'm kind of worried about this one. Hopefully I'll be able to face against Robert earlier in the season. Any tips for me?
You know, honestly, you got to be careful with his elves and the, as referred to in our game, The elf bullshit.
Elf bullshit. You always have to be on the lookout for elf bullshit.
Yeah, they definitely move really quickly. If you can
Tackle
knock down
zones don't work
enough.
against elves.
Yes. If you can knock them down enough, maybe knock out one or two of those players, not necessarily injure them, but definitely knock them out and get them out of that round. It's a really high possibility of that win.
And you know what? I think the two players that are going to be key in this matchup are the High Elf Blitzers and the Methrat Skaven Gutter Runners. If his Blitzers get anywhere close to my Gutter Runners, I've lost. His Blitzers, of course, have Strip Ball. They're just going to take the ball away from my Gutter Runners. So the big bonus the Gutter Runners have is they can dodge. But that dodge doesn't do anything against Strip Ball. So I need to keep his Blitzers away from my Gutter Runners, but I think that's going to be really the match decider.
Yeah, that did save me on last one is the dodge. It prevented me from getting killed a couple times, as well as keeping that ball away from him.
Next up, we have Greenham Man Clan against the Jurassic Park Ruffians. Really tough game for Jim. The Ruffians, very punchy team. Jim, very punchy team as well, but the Ruffians just have a lot of experience points over him, and they have the advantage of having those leveled up running skinks. The Star Skink is dead, but I think it's going to be a tough match for Jim, and I hope he doesn't get too frustrated with it. I'm excited to see if he can maybe kill a few skinks. I'm always excited for that. We were really cheering Robert on last game? Wasn't Robert. Gavin. Gavin, yeah, we were really cheering Gavin on last game, last week to kill some of those skinks. But I think it's going to be a tough match for Jim. I predict the Ruffians coming out on top this match.
It's going to either be them coming out on top as only 1 point lead, or it's possible the Greenham Man Clan could possibly pull this off. This all depends on if Matthew's still running with that 5 skank team. I wasn't able to pull it off simply because I still haven't figured out how to face off against Lizardmen, and I also haven't figured out how to play well the Lizardmen. Gavin seems like he's got his things together. He might be able to pull this one off.
This is Jim, not Gavin.
I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is second place. Very first season, and he's second place. But he's playing against the person in first place. Undefeated so far, the Jurassic Park Ruffians are.
Well, if anybody's going to give him a loss, hopefully it's going to be him.
Yeah. And finally, we have a mirror match, Nocturnal Giant Slayers against the Red Cross Disaster Relief. While it is a mirror match, I heard a rumor that Ryan was going to be hiring his Minotaur, so there's going to be a lot of Minotaur versus Minotaur violence in the middle of the field, I'm sure. And from what we've seen before, I'm not really favoring Lydia's Nocturnal Giant Slayers. If you recall from last season, Ryan beat their mirror match during the round robin, and then they faced off against each other in the top 4, and Ryan won handily in that as well.
Well, all she can hope is that she gets lucky and Neffle's on her side. Make sure that she gets a couple of those rerolls. They are going to save her, and make sure she gets an apothecary. If she can do those things right there, she has a slight advantage that she might be able to pull off that win. I wouldn't be so favoritism if it wasn't for the fact of I've seen that in the game that I got lucky, so it's a possibility that just the fact that a couple more rerolls might save her the game.
Exactly. Well, she's going to have the inducements for it. That about does it for this. Any parting words?
Guys, be careful. Make sure you guys get a hold of them. We're doing great. Nobody's forgotten to play their matches.
Oh yes, thank you guys very much. No one has forgotten to play their matches. That is great.
Yeah, let's see if we can keep this up. Let's see if we can make this season the season that everybody plays their games. Make sure to get each other on Facebook. Make sure you guys get each other on Skype. Hey, meet up on this day so we can actually do it, get it over with, and see if we can try to make the whole season amazing.
Exactly. And don't forget to do your level ups before your match, and don't forget to spend your money.
That's correct.
All right, everyone. Good luck out there.
I'll see you guys in Plainfield.
Take care.